Good morning, everybody. The date is January 22nd, and we are here today recording the third episode of a New Era podcast. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Had a great time watching some of those divisional games because, man, we had some great games this weekend as opposed to the wild card ones we had. Oh yeah, some great ones. Dad, you want to say hi this morning to the listeners?
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. How you doing? Can't believe this is actually episode 3. We want to definitely thank everyone who has downloaded and listened to episodes 1 and 2. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying it and continuing to listen to our old man, young man takes.
You said it great. You said it correctly. Yeah, we love the support and all through the first week. We were happy to get 2 episodes out there. Now we're getting into our normal posting schedule or normal episode schedule, as I should say. Recording these Monday morning and then getting these up during the day Monday. So probably be looking at 2 episodes this week. But now we're gonna start to get into our normal thing. So this will be fun. Today we've got some different topics and stuff. I know we jumped on the 7-round mock draft we did for episode 2. We've been overdoing the Patriots talk, I'd say, throughout the first 2 episodes here. So we're gonna switch over. We're gonna be talking about more the Celtics and the Bruins today. And then afterwards we've probably got what's going to be our bigger segment and should take us over to the conclusion, talking about both of our top 10 Boston athletes, but with a twist. It's only of our time. So, I was born in 99. I've seen a lot of success and a lot of successful athletes, but I can only include those guys that I've seen. No Larry Birds, no Bill Russells, no freaking, I don't care, whoever else. But my dad may know some of the older guys that I want to see where they place in his top 10, see if any of the newer guys that I know are in there too. But before we get into all of that stuff, we're going to have a divisional weekend recap and some of our picks. I'm not 100% sure what our picks were last episode. I was trying to grab those earlier, but I think we might know a little bit off the top of our head. Dad, before we get into our picks from last week and the ones for this upcoming week, what do you have to say about this weekend of great football and the poor Buffalo Bills again?
Well, obviously don't know because we haven't touched on this, but I was born in Buffalo, and it was really kind of funny. I had some time and started watching the 30 for 30, the fall of the Bills once again. A little of that. I recall that time frame, especially since I still had a lot of family members still left in Buffalo at the time. And my God, watching that game last night, I knew it was going to come down to the end. I mentioned that in the podcast. I thought it was going into overtime, and it almost did if we didn't get another wide right field goal attempt. That was an incredible game. I just felt sick for the Bills. They were so close once again.
Yeah. That one, it's just the Bills keep finding new ways to lose these games to the Chiefs in the playoffs. And yeah, you put it perfectly. Sick. I was sitting there and, you watch them line up for that kick. It was like 1:54 left in the fourth. You're at home and you're looking at this and you're like, no way he beefs this, right? No way he misses it. And he's
going with the wind behind him.
Yeah. And then he goes and just absolutely nails it too far right. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh my fucking God. These poor Buffalo Bill fans. I was like speechless. I wasn't even a fan, but I was like speechless for like 5 minutes. I was like, I can't, you can't make this shit up. You really can't.
They they pan to one guy in the stands just absolutely
just bawling, right?
just bawling. He was
Yeah.
bawling. He pulled his head, little hat over his eye. Yeah.
Oh my God. Man,
I
and
mean,
it sucks.
for a team that didn't look like they were going to make it, had all of the hype, yes, Final Four team, potential Super Bowl team to at least get into it, and then turn around, have a great run, beat the Dolphins, get the number 2 seed, and have to lose just like that. I mean, they played their hearts out. Absolutely.
They did. They did. Josh Allen played amazing and everything. Like it literally wasn't a bad game by him. Like they should have won that game. And in a year where this is the first year in 6 or 7 years that we've seen Patrick Mahomes that the Chiefs look this susceptible to losing, and you still lose to him. I mean,
yeah,
dude, it just. I mean, hand up. I wanted him to lose because I hate seeing the Chiefs. I hate seeing them continue to go. I know how people feel about, the Patriots when we were good. I get it now. I hate seeing the Chiefs. I hate seeing Mahomes getting there. God forbid they get to the Super Bowl. I do not want our, most recent of going back to back titles to be in jeopardy there. But Buffalo, man, just poor Buffalo. I know there's Buffalo fans waking up this morning, and these guys aren't going to be able to get over that their season's done until they see the ball snap next Sunday for the AFC Championship. Man, I mean, just what a game. That's a great. There's always instant classics when those two play in the playoffs, and once again we got another one, but for reasons that Buffalo won't want to cover again. But okay, so we've talked about that game. The other ones we'll go through shortly. I'm sure, as you know, but we've got yesterday's early game, the Lions and the Buccaneers. Lions ended up winning that one 31-23. I don't think I jumped on the picks for that one. I think you were on Bill spread. I was on Chiefs spread because I said about a field goal for the push.
Yeah. And I had the over.
Yeah, I think we were both. What was the over? 45.5%. I think we were both on the over, and that hit. All right, so good stuff. Lions, Bucks. I was on Bucks plus 6.5. That missed.
I took Bucks.
You took Bucks too, and then I think we both took the over there too, which hit. So turning around a little bit. Go Lions. That's all I got to say about that game. Really, I mean, it was a good game. Close. The final score is closer than I feel like the game actually was. But you got that. You literally the same ending as like the NFC game on Saturday night with Jordan Love throwing like a cross-body interception, right to a linebacker on the first play of the drive, down like 20 on the 20 or something like that. But yeah, it was a good game. Packers 49ers. We got 49ers 24, Packers 21. We should have known this was coming. I'm pretty sure we both took the Niners spread, and we were like trying to talk ourselves out of it, and we should have known those too many points. You took over. I do remember that. I took the under. I hit that one, and at 50.5. God, that was a high one. But that was a good game. And then I
was going to say, I think what you have to look, I mean, going into next year, I mean, that Packers team, watch out.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, nobody expected him out of this year, really. It was a rebuilding year. But now you get to go through the offseason, bolster up some positions. You've got a pretty decent young wide receiver core there. And, and Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs. That's 4 guys four guys that are all like under the age of like 24, 25, something like that. And
youngest receiving.
Yeah, and they're all good. They're all reliable guys. You got Aaron Jones, which every year I feel like Aaron Jones is going to slow down, and he just doesn't continue to do it. The offensive line was actually very good this year. And
and I think that was the question mark going in. Besides the receivers,
and for as bad as the defense played at some points, I feel like going into this playoffs, I was hearing people talk about, in other podcasts and stuff like that, when they were prepping us on the Packers, it was, the team is decent. The offense can be good and get to click, but this team's only going to go as far as the defense allows it. And I don't even think necessarily it's their fault they lost on Saturday. Defense played their hearts out. They got to get some more pieces there, and they'll get better. But it's just a tough break. It might just be another one of those things like with the Bills. They just keep losing to the Chiefs. With the Packers, even if Aaron Rodgers is gone, they're just going to keep losing to the 49ers in the playoffs.
Yeah. But absolutely, I think it's going into next year, absolutely scary team.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and then the last game here of the divisional, which was technically the first game, but you know what I mean. We got Ravens 34, Texans 10. Hand up. I got shit on this one. I took Texans plus 9.5. I think you took Ravens minus 9.5. Thought this was going to be closer. I even had Texans plus 14.5. I did Texans plus 14.5, Packers plus 14.5 parlay. That Texans ended up fucking blowing there. But you should have seen me at the sports bar like in the last like 6 minutes, because the Texans got the ball and I'm sitting there and I was like, please, need a backdoor cover. And then they get rid of the ball. The Ravens got it back or something. I think they like 3-and-out it. And I was just like, oh my God, we got another chance at a backdoor cover. And it wasn't happening. But I mean, it was all around. It was a fun game. First half was interesting. After that punt return touchdown, I was sitting there and I was like, these Texans, that might be the play where like the Ravens look back and they're like, these guys are kind of hanging around a little fucking longer than they should.
Yeah. But Lamar ended up doing what he does.
Yeah, I saw a little interview of him.
That defense. Those linebacker. Everyone.
They were crazy good. I mean, the only touchdown the Texans had was a special teams touchdown. Defense was absolutely insane.
Clowney, oh my God, that kid looks huge.
Who?
Yeah, I know he's Jadeveon Clowney.
Oh yeah.
I know he's 6'6", 6'7" as is, but watching him off the ball and coming, I mean, he looks enormous on TV.
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy. I was trying to pull up here. Where is he? 6'5", 266 as is. Jesus. Yeah. He's a big guy. But yeah, people were asking Lamar. It was like, because it was 10-10 at half. They tied it up and everything. Somebody goes, Lamar, who was talking the most at halftime? Like, who went in there and made the adjustments? He goes, me. I went in there, and he goes something about, he was like, a lot of curse words that I can't say here. But we got it straight and went out there, did our job the second half of shit. And, they put up 21 unanswered points and rattled off that win, I think. So, good game. Ravens look like the powerhouse that they are. 49ers don't look like, as much of a powerhouse at the 1 seed, but we'll see. Because now we can talk about our conference championships. We're finally on the way to Conference Championship Sunday. You gotta love it. Give me your thoughts here. Let's start first with the Chiefs and Ravens. We've got Chiefs going into Baltimore. This is the 3:00 game. As of right now, we've got a line set at Baltimore minus 3.5 over under 44.5. What you thinking here?
this is going to be a really tight game. As long as, again, the Chiefs secondary can get a little bit healthy, they're going to need, hopefully, Willie Gray, because he's going to need to be that spy against Lamar. Hopefully he gets healthy again. The Chiefs offense running the ball, yes, it'll be harder, most likely against the Ravens, but still Pacheco was running hard.
He always does.
Yeah, but some of those runs though, I mean, he always does, but I think he upped it yesterday's game.
Definitely.
I know you started off in saying you don't want to see it, but I'm going to go Kansas City.
I had a feeling he'd do that.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want to see it. I was talking about this with my buddies last night, and right after the Chiefs won, I was like, damn it, you know, we need the Ravens now. You know, please, Ravens, get in the way of us getting another Chiefs Super Bowl. And like, I want to pick the Ravens here to be different. I really do. Yeah. I really want them to win. But he's getting hot, man. It's fucking Patrick Mahomes now. He's doing the thing he does every year. You know, everybody was counting out this team, and you know, he's a winner, dude. And when you got some of these guys that are just winners and can go out there and freaking change games, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be close. You know, I will be different.
Getting confidence in those wide receivers right now. MVS had a decent game.
I will be different.
This is what they do. The wide receivers show up when needed, right? It's like the Kansas City Chiefs are almost like an NBA team. Let's wait until after the All-Star game, and now it's time to play.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, they're just clicking right now. And I mean, the biggest thing there, you got Travis Kelce had a game, I'm pretty sure. I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I mean, he's been looking like shit ever since, you know, he started getting a little too close with Taylor there. And he finally like broke out of that, you know, and he had, I mean, I think it was in like the second quarter, freaking Mahomes threw an absolute dot to him. It was like down the right sideline, and he was just going for a little, and I was just like, damn, yep, they're back. Like, all the weird shit that we've been talking about them for a couple weeks now, like they're back. I'm still gonna take the Ravens though. I'll take the Ravens 3.5. I'm gonna go the same thing that I did last week, where I'm gonna take the Chiefs plus 3.5 because I just want to take the points, but I'm taking the Ravens to win. I'm probably gonna come around and end up absolutely like hating this pick. But please, LaMarvelous Jackson, keep Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs out of the Super Bowl again this year.
And what about the over-under? I mean, you said that was at 44?
Oh, yeah. I think it was 40. Yeah, 44.5. You know what? I'm going to say under slightly, and I think that's the only way the Ravens do win this game. Obviously, they're great offensively, but the Chiefs' defense and their secondary at least like hasn't been too bad this year. I think the differentiating factor in this game is going to be the Ravens' defense, and hopefully we get the Ravens' defense that we got all throughout the second half this week. If we get that defense for 4 quarters, if we get that defense for 4 quarters, I might switch my pick and go take the points with Baltimore because they could win by a touchdown there. But we don't know because, you know, it took 30 minutes for that defensive team to get out there on the field into Baltimore this week. Could have been because they got a bye, you know, and they were waking up a little bit, so they could be a little better next week. We don't know. But that's going to be the real key to this game.
Yeah, I'm going to go the under as well. I think it's 24-20.
Yep. Yeah, that's the hook that I was thinking at too. You got a good hook there in 24-20 to get the under. So okay. And now we'll move over to the NFC. We've got the 12-5 Detroit Lions against the 12-5 San Francisco 49ers, 1 seed versus the 3 seed. Detroit going into San Francisco at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, that is, obviously. We've got San Francisco -6.5, over under 50.5. This is weird, man. After the way that these two teams have looked, granted, we've got 2 games out of Detroit and 1 almost blown game out of San Fran. This line should not be 6.5. This is weird.
No.
So this is telling me something, and this is telling me to take the damn Lions and take the 6.5.
I agree. When you say that, I still think San Francisco will win, but yes, I think Detroit will cover, and at 50.5, you said, I mean, over under, I would go under Detroit to cover, but San Francisco to win.
Yep, I'm on all 3 of those too. I like +6.5, keep it close. I like San Francisco to actually win. But who knows, man? The Lions, get a couple plays going your way defensively. A turnover here or there. This game could be like a 1 possession, like 1 play away sort of game that differentiates it. So we'll see, but I like the under there too. I might go 24-20 again.
Jared Goff's been playing great, but I'll say, 4.5, maybe 3 minutes left in the fourth, tight game, and an interception to Fred Warner.
Yeah, could happen. We know that Jared Goff doesn't play his best on the road, but maybe this is his week, man. Maybe he wants to go out there. I saw this stat. He is one of 5 quarterbacks ever in the last, last 100 years that has taken 2 separate franchises to championship games with the Rams and the Lions. And that stat even gets more impressive if he's one of only 2 team, or one of any, it might be like 3 quarterbacks. Brady, Manning, Goff could potentially take two franchises to the Super Bowl. I'm sure I'm missing one, but those are just the ones I can think off the top of my head. So, legacy game for Jared Goff. We'll see. I hope he balls out. I'm fine with either one of these teams winning. I think Niners Ravens Super Bowl would be the most fun media hype and all that stuff that we could get. We could talk about that for ages over the next 2 weeks, but I'm fine with the Lions taking it too.
Yeah, I'd listen though. I think earlier this week, another podcast that they were saying that the NFL dream scenario would be Detroit and Kansas City.
That would be weird. That would be something though, wouldn't it? You think about it. We were hyping up Detroit, Kansas City as the first game in week 1. That was the Thursday night game. Kansas City goes out there, or Detroit goes into Kansas City, beats them, shows everybody, Detroit is for real. Kansas City can lose games this year. And then a couple months later, you come down to it, you get 2 weeks of media hype, the same game that started out the year. But this time, these teams are in 2 completely different spots, lines of, got it all running. Chiefs, while they've had their moments, they definitely got hot at the right time. That would be something. We've got a good Final Four. I will say that. Whoever wins on either side is going to make for a good Super Bowl. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But, ABC, anybody but the Chiefs. All right, so moving on from that, moving on from football, we'll talk about other winter sports here. I know I said pre-show Celtics Bruins. Do you want to do Bruins first here? You want to handle this?
Yeah. We'll go look at the Bruins. I think you had wanted to look at some ratings or you said mid-season awards.
Yeah.
Art, the Vesna, the Calder,
Cena, I think.
and the James.
Yeah. So you got the Hart. I mean, obviously those are the names of the trophies and all and the awards for the actual like league MVPs and stuff like that. But we're giving these we're doing mid-season award just for the Bruins themselves. I'm gonna let you kind of roll with this one. I've got my answers, but I think you're probably the one a little more well versed with the Bruins right now. So we've got the MVP of our team throughout the first half of the year. We got the best goalie. Obviously, we've got two very good ones. But if you had to pick between one, we got our own Calder, so our own best rookie award, and then our own James Norris award, the best defenseman so far for the team. Starting out with the Hart, the MVP of the Bruins so far throughout the first, 45, 46 games or something. Who are you going there?
David Pastrnak.
Yeah.
I mean, he is again on a incredible run. This year, not just scoring goals, but his assists are up. Total points at 66, plus 11 right now. Not taking as many penalty minutes. I mean, he's only sitting here at 35, but absolutely a stud on the offensive. And, the cool thing was that I think I mentioned, I don't know if it was podcast 1, I think we touched on the Bruins, and I was talking about the lines, and Brad Marchand wasn't on his line. It was Charlie Coyle and him with the Brus, and he was putting up those points. And now with Marchand back with him, it's even more incredible. Absolutely, I think he's the MVP.
Yeah, I don't think that one's that hard. He was the answer I had put down as well. If he wanted a little bit of like a wild card, we could have went Swayman, but I don't think we need to.
Yeah, I was thinking Swayman. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's just been so incredible. Him and Olmark are just great goalies, and we saw this last year. But just the steps that he has taken, I mean, I think you could throw him in the running for it. But when you got
more of a wild card, you could throw in Charlie Coyle.
Yeah, Charlie Coyle.
Who knew that was going to
happen? MVP might be a little bit of a stretch for him, but I think if you got to think about like one of the most underrated players for the Bruins this year and one that you didn't expect, I think that's got to be Coyle. And he's been terrific. I mean, same thing with like Zacha, dude. I mean, this team has been good. There's been a lot of surprising guys. But yeah, I think you nailed it with Pasta. When you got like a generational talent like him there, we knew that was coming. So I know we had mentioned Swayman, but this probably segues you into your next point, which I assumed was going to be him anyways. But do you have him or Olmark as the best goalie for us through the first half of the year?
I think Swayman definitely. I mean, Olmark last year I think was 1A.
Mm-hmm. He actually won. I'm pretty sure Olmark actually won the Vezina last year.
Yeah. And nothing against him, but I think this is definitely Swayman's team. I like his feistiness a whole lot more than Olmark. I mean, that kid is just. I love watching some of the saves and just him smiling to the refs at some points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the kid is having fun. Absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic year. 2.37 goal against average, 9.23 save percentage, 14-3. Lights out. Definitely.
Yeah. He's
taken the number one goalie.
Yeah, he's been terrific.
Yeah.
And
it'll be interesting. I mean, our loss in the playoffs last year, we didn't go use both goalies. I think.
Yeah. Well,
going into
we did, but we didn't do it late enough. or we didn't do it early enough.
Right.
I think like we were just running Allmark into the ground early on, and then he started slipping. Game 4 was like, okay, whatever. Game 5, he was really starting to slip, and then you're like, okay, well, we've got 2 more games, but you're sitting there and you're trying to look at this, and you're like, we've got Swayman sitting right there, and he could be the difference. And I don't even think we put Swayman in like Game 7. He might have started it, but I think it was like Game 6 or something like that. And you got Allmark, and then you're pulling Swayman or something like that, like halfway through the game. Like, stick with the guy. We've got both of them. They're great. I really hope that we manage those goalies a little better in the playoffs this year. But I mean, we can rely on both of them. But shout out to Swayman. Incredible year so far. And God, tell me it just doesn't look so cool seeing that number 1 on a goalie. That jersey's so sick. I can't wait to grab one of those eventually.
Yeah. I just relate to watching, other sports, even some of the coaching I've done in my life in soccer, and just seeing how certain teams play different with a goalie behind them.
Yep.
Again, both are fantastic, great seasons again. But I think the team just plays a little differently with him behind the pipes.
Just a little bit. Yeah, makes sense. No, I like it. Okay. Shout out to our goalies. Keep it doing. Keep it pushing. So now we've got your Calder winner so far, the best rookie on our team. Who do you got?
We have to go with that kid center, who will be coming back in the next couple of days, back on the roster, Matthew Poitras.
Patra.
Patra.
I know. I used to say Poitras too. I realized that when I was prepping his name for episode 2, I think it was. I went and looked it up, and I was like, all right, Matthew Poitras. You check the pronunciation online, it's just like pot, right? Yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. That's one of the weird ones. Yeah. No, he's been great. He was great, especially to start the year. I mean, didn't he have that, like, not the hat trick, but there was like within the first week. What was this? We've got in the first game against Chicago, he had the assist. Everybody was like, oh my God, he's him. There we go. Then he's got that game against the Ducks. He had the 2 goals. He came back with another goal against Chicago. Granted, this is just all within the first 3 days. He got an assist against the Ducks 2 days after that. And then we went a little cold for a bit. I mean, but obviously, he wasn't going to keep up that same pace, but he was still a great player. You keep in mind, kid, oh my God, that's so weird to see. He's fucking 19, man. This guy was born 2004. And I mean, he's still putting up.
Second round pick, though.
Yeah, second round pick, 54. At the start of the year, he was putting up, around 14 to 16 minutes time on the ice. He was getting a little more at the end of November, and then his ice time has slowly started to deteriorate a little bit. But I think he'll get back into the swing of things. Starting to get some more shots up on the board. I think that's what I want to see the most out of him when he's on the ice. Is just a little more aggressiveness, but I think he runs away with our best rookie so far this year. All right. Anything else that you have on Potter? Or you want to move over to our best defenseman? This will be an interesting one.
Really?
Yeah, I think so because we've got a very great defensive line, and that's part of the reason why our team is so good. With Swayman and everything, the line that he's got ahead of him. But to me, it really does come down to 2. Well, I think not the bandwagon, but the popular pick here is Charlie McAvoy, and we love Charlie. But I don't think you can, really overlook what Hampus Lindholm's doing so far for us this year too.
Yeah, I mean, he can carry the puck. He's got 15 assists right now, um, plus 10. Um, but I think Charlie's got 6 goals. I'm the number one PK unit, and the
Also, the number one most
penalty.
penalized.
Yeah,
I
but
just keep that in mind
still,
there, but
I was almost surprised that he didn't wear the C. I know he's still young, but he will be eventually the team's captain.
yeah, no, I get that. I like that a lot, but I think at that point you got to give it to Marchand, right? Like I feel like if Marchand wasn't there in any other team scenario, yeah, maybe you're getting Charlie, but I think with Brad sitting there, I think it was just you knew that was coming.
Well, yeah, but yet I think within the next 3 years, 4 years,
Yeah,
Charlie will be with the team.
how old is Brad? He's up there. Yeah, 35.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't have many more years of him, but yeah. So you got Charlie. You're giving it to Charlie though.
I got Charlie.
All
Absolutely.
right.
Um,
Absolutely. I get
I
that.
mean, I was going to say even, Brandon Carlo and how
True.
he plays, definitely. Yeah, Lindholm been great as well, and just the way that he can carry the puck out of the defensive zone and quickly into the offensive zone. But Carlo's a great, 3, 8, 11 points, plus 18 right now.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
leading
think
the team. That's incredible.
yeah, but I'm going Charlie.
Gotcha. Look at this. I know you're probably looking at the ESPN ones here too. I don't know if you see this, but this is just absolutely an insane differential. You got David Pastrnak, 231 shots. Next leading on the team is Brad Marchand at 123. And we really running everything through him, but
Yeah.
it works. So we'll run along with it. All right, well that'll conclude our midseason awards for the Bruins. There, that's fun. That's fun. I hope hopefully at the end of the year we can come back on this in a different podcast episode and kind of go back to these picks and see if at the end of the year everything holds steady. If it's still Pasta, Swayman, Patra, McAvoy, or if who knows, maybe Lindholm scooch his way in there as bet defenseman at the end of the year. So, all right. So then we get the Celtics, who have also just passed their halfway point. I think we mentioned that while we recorded episode 2 on Wednesday. These ones I've got a couple different ones for you so far, or a couple different awards. So I'll list these really quick. We've got our midseason MVP, midseason most improved player, our midseason sixth man of the year, our midseason defensive player of the year, and our midseason newcomer of the year. I don't even think I need to really give too much of an entrance to this one. MVP, you know who it is?
You're gonna say Jason.
Of course it's Jason. But like I said about a wild card with Swayman, and this is going to lead into my next point. I don't think, if we're talking about like not statistics, if we're talking about straight up the most valuable player on the court, how the team plays with him, how he fits into the five, how the ball moves around with him. He's actually leading our team in assists right now. It's Mr. Derek White, the bald Mamba.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been absolutely incredible this year. He should be an all-star, and he damn well deserves it. To be able to come in and fill Marcus Smart's shoes like that, where we didn't think he could really come in here and play, that sort of role in the backcourt, it's very impressive. Averaging 16.2 points, 4.1 rebounds, 4.9 assists, a steal and a block per game. An assist to turnover ratio at 2.9. He's leading the starters there with the best assist to turnover ratio. So I love Derek White. I really do. Is he more valuable to the team than Tatum? Probably not. But I'm not going to bat an eye if you were to say yes this year in the role he's playing, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, offensively, Jason by far 26.7 points per game. You need him to score, but actually not all the time. I mean, last couple games, we've seen somebody else take over and uh, be able to be the leader in points. You really don't need him the way the team is constructed to have to be the leader in the scoring. But everything else, I think he does. But yeah, I mean, Derek, very, very close to being that MVP because of everything he does and how he's done a lot better with the 3 points and the amount of blocks.
Oh my God.
Six. Yeah.
Yeah. And you talked about the 3-point. That's a great spot. I'm looking at this now, and I was looking at this yesterday when I was like prepping for this. I didn't even realize, the backcourt mates of him and Drew Holiday. Derek's shooting 41.1% from three, and Holiday at 41.8. That's crazy. That's anything above 40% from three is insane.
And when Derek first got here from Dallas, right? We got that
San Antonio.
San Antonio, sorry. But I mean, he was trying to take some threes, and I think every time he was behind the arc and ready to launch one, I was like, oh,
yeah.
no.
He wasn't necessarily a bad shooter. He was kind of one of those like 3-and-D guys when we got him. But I mean, if you look at the progression of it, I won't count the first year because I mean these numbers are so skewed. But in the second year of his career, with the first of over 100 threes taken, you got 33.8, 36.6, 34.6, 31.4. In his couple games in Boston, once we acquired him in 2021, 2022, he got 30.6. Last year, he was at 38.1. And now finally this year, the first year in his career that he's shooting over 40% from behind the line. I must have just turned some around in the offseason. Must have really focused on it, knowing, as a starter, as a guy that needs to replace Marcus Smart here, you got to be a little more trusted offensively. Something that, as much as we loved Marcus, we always had those fucking questions about, if the ball's getting swung to Marcus and we need a shot, how good are we feeling? With Derek White this year in that scenario, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good with any of these five guys taking a shot, honestly.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, so I think that kind of answers our next question, but transitions us into most improved player is obviously Derek White. And I just want to bring this up, and I made this an award because I think there's an actual shot he wins this for the NBA. Let me see who else is in the running here. Award race, because not 100% sure. They've got some big guys that definitely. All right, Tyrese Maxey, yeah. We got Scotty Barnes, Kobe White, Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton's a big one. He's been having an incredible year. Jalen Johnson, Jalen Williams. Then you got Derek White. We got Derek White at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, eighth best odds for it at plus 10,000 right now, right alongside Emmanuel Quickly. I think maybe he's getting thrown down there just because, you've got a starting five of, almost all stars. Whereas, Tyrese Maxey is, the two right there with Embiid and Philly. It'd be cool if Derek White could win it for the league. I think, it's well deserved, but do you have anybody else that potentially even comes to mind here when you think of most improved for the Celtics?
I mean, when you look at their lineup, I mean, can you say Jaylen Brown has improved over last year? I mean, pretty steady. Um, had that triple double last game, but I think you're right. Improved wise, over taking over a starting role, great defender, and then his 3-point ability to shoot now has increased. Best of his career so far. He's got to be um, the most improved.
Gotta be. Yeah. And I mean, I guess you could try to throw Jalen in there, but with Jalen, you know, being how Jalen is for the last 2 or 3 years, I think he's past that point. You know, we know him
Yeah,
as one of these guys, not like an alpha like, you know, Tatum, but we know he's up there. We know he's important to this team. And, you know, granted, you could say he's most improved for maybe some of the dribbling with his left hand alone this year. I know that fucking killed us in that Miami series at the end of last year. But I think when you got a guy at this point in his career, as great as he is, not to take anything away from Jaylen Brown, I don't think you can call him most improved just because I think we know what we're seeing at Jalen. I think, you know, he might, consistently get better year after year, but I think we found, you know, his usual zone. But yeah, I like it. Okay, so moving on here. And this one might be a little more open. So I want to hear your thoughts. I've got my pick, but sixth man of the year. You know, we do go about 8 deep. You know, 9 or 10 once we're touching some blowout minutes. But you know, you got the starting five, and then I think you go as deep as Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, Al Horford, and then you know, Luke Cornett and Queta every now and again. But out of those guys that are coming off the bench and playing those roles, who do you have as the sixth man of the year so far for him?
I'm thinking Al Horford. I think it fits him. Throughout his career, he's gone from starter to that role player coming off the bench, six man. I think what he does defensively, how he can take. I mean, at 6'9", he can take some of those bigs, just pound them. You know, they're not gonna just get into the paint with him. I think he's very talkative as well on the defensive end. And, you know, surprising again, he can hit the 3-point, he can spread it out and get beyond the arc and pull that big man out. He can play center or power forward. Yeah, I'm going to go him or six man. Again, defensively, the team, this team too, is a great defensive team. And with him in the back, just pointing things out, he's our six man.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I had a feeling you were gonna go there, and so that's why I got a different pick just to keep it a little different. I'll say if we were to have done this a month and a half ago, I'd say it's definitely Al. But I think considering the last month and a half, and kind of the run he's been on and what he means to that second unit, I'm going to go with Peyton Pritchard. Now, hear me out. I think the one thing that I do worry about with him is, you know, the size, and defensively he can be a little bit of a liability on that end. And, you know, the smart teams, the smart coaches are game planning around picking him apart defensively. You know, you got your 2 or 3 that is 6'7", 6'8", that you know is going to drive, but they're throwing Peyton Pritchard on him or something like that. You're looking for those mismatches. You're looking to be able to take advantage of his size. But offensively, I mean, it's the boost that we need off the bench, especially when, you know, you get some of those real top guys off the floor to give him a bit of a breather. And this stat just jumps off the page for me. Now, granted, obviously he's not holding the ball as much or anything like that, but he's still averaging, 3 a game. And over the last month, it's been 2.7, 3.3 in January there. 5.1 assist to turnover ratio, which is very important. I think even if you're not moving the ball so much, just being able to move it without turning it over and giving extra possessions to the other teams is a big thing off the bench. I like Peyton Pritchard. I don't mind Al Horford instead. I think they're like neck and neck. But just the recent performance out of Peyton gives me the edge. But by the end of the year, once we come back and touch on these again, getting deeper into the playoffs and stuff like that, I think that's where Al's really going to shine. His veteran presence. He's been there before, and he'll continue to do what he does in the playoffs for us. So I probably like Al to end off the year with that award, but right now I'm going PP.
All right.
All right.
One thing I absolutely love out of that kid is, and just looking at everyone's stats here, 3.2 rebounds per game. It's amazing to see. I mean, he'll get a couple rebounds a game that you're like, what?
It's
he just
like hustle boards.
Yeah. Just reads how the ball's going to come off, and he'll go up and he'll get it. And yeah, we described being at 6'1", going up against or getting beat defensively against somebody bigger than him. But yeah, I love watching him just go up and get them when you're like, wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe he just got up and got that.
Yeah, going up and playing with the big boys. All right, so we're getting down to our last two here. We got to speed this up a little bit, but we got Defensive Player of the Year. Who you got so far?
Derek White.
Yeah. Well, that was easy. I mean, don't get me wrong, great defensive team. Outside of maybe, I think Tatum and Brown. I mean, they are good defenders, but if you're thinking of best Defensive Player of the Year for us, I think it's in between, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Porzingis. Maybe not Porzingis so much. I'm more so just saying that because, his interior presence, being able to block stuff. But I like Drew and I like Derek. I think the edge just goes to Derek because of, the way that he's forcing turnovers for us.
And he can, again, switch off and guard that shooting guard that point guard or small forward.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as talented like Marcus could guard all five and had. I don't think Derek can. But still, when he can guard 3, maybe 4 positions.
But I think if we need anybody to guard 1 through 5, I feel okay with Drew doing that. He's physical. He doesn't mind getting in with the big guys. Sure, he's no Marcus Smart, but nobody will be. So, and then to make sure we show some love to Drew too, I've got this Newcomer of the Year award. This could be Porzingis or Drew, but I've got my vote in for Drew and just the role that he plays at our 1, his defensive presence. But if you were to say Porzingis here, I wouldn't mind it either.
Yeah, I'm going to go Porzingis. I think his offense, it is great to see, probably something that, again, not to make fun of Marcus, and we absolutely felt bad during that trade, but we really needed someone to run the offense, and Holiday can do that as our point guard, but Porzingis can carry us offensively if Tatum's having an off night or Brown is, we've seen that. So
yeah, and we always needed that like interior presence that I don't feel like we ever got. And he really, I guess Porzingis really was just the last piece, because everything's falling in the right way and everybody's looking good.
And he's been healthy this year.
Yeah, relatively healthy for, he's had some games off and everything like that. But with a lanky guy like that, like that's fine. Give him off some games. You don't want he's not going to play all 82. If he does, we're going to wear him down for the playoffs. So, I mean, he's been there when we need him to be. And, I mean, the team's firing on all cylinders. Excellent half of the year so far. I hope they keep the pace going. You got any last thoughts on the Celtics here before we move on to our last topic?
No, I mean, team stats overall, it's amazing where they are leading. What rebounds per game, blocks per game, 3-pointers made per game. Absolutely, most points in a game came in second to Indiana. Fantastic. Again, yeah, echoing what you said. Great first half of the year, and I don't see them having too much difficulty throughout this. Defensive rating, second.
Yep.
Net rating plus. I mean, it's
I think
fantastic.
they're top 5 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. I think they're the only team that is so far. So good work by the Celtics. We'll keep it pushing, and I mean we'll keep covering them throughout the rest of the season here. But to move on from that, we're done with that mid-season awards segment for the Bruins and the Celtics. Our last thing here, we got a little bit of a fun topic, and we're gonna try to think of more of these and incorporate some of these to our podcast every week. So we're not just giving takes, but doing some fun stuff, doing some rankings, doing some trivia, whatever it may be. So I'm gonna give the explanation for what we're doing here. We're doing our top 10 Boston athletes, but of our time. So keep in mind, I was born in '99 here, so I've seen almost 25 years of Boston sports and some great players and athletes along that time. But we've obviously have some greats that are way before my time. Seeing how I didn't see them play, those can't be included on my list. However, Old Man over here has seen them, and Old Man will include them on the list. But I do want to see if any of the guys that I've got more recently that are on my list have made their way into yours. So I think we talked about this. You want to do this? You want to go from 10 to 1, and you give your 10, I give my 10, and then we keep going up this list?
Yeah.
You want to start with the honorable mentions first, and then get into it?
No. I think we'll hit honorable mentions afterward.
Okay.
Are we going? So I go.
Yeah.
All
go
my
ahead.
10,
give me 10, 9, 8, and then I'll give you 10, 9, 8. We'll talk about those.
All right. I'm going number 10. And I when we go through my my ranking, one sport we haven't covered yet will be the Red Sox, and I think you'll see from me many Red Sox. I got to New England in '78, so I'm not going to say obviously before that any of the players that were playing that yes I was alive for, but
were you watching?
I wasn't in New England for. I wasn't watching them, so I'm gonna go number 10, Nomar Garciaparra.
Good one.
I think came into a time with shortstops just at a different size, different athletic ability. Him, Jeter, and A-Rod, and he was fantastic defensively, offensively. Number 10 in my book. Number 9, I'm gonna go Rob Gronkowski. Obviously, very big, important cog for Tom Brady. Yesterday lost the all-time playoff touchdown.
Did he? I didn't catch that.
Yep. Mahomes and Kelsey now passed them. with their 16, but
whatever.
Brady and Gronk had 15. So I'm putting him at number 9. And number 8, this might be a surprise for you, but I'm going to say Paul Pierce.
Okay. Why would you say a surprise?
I think probably surprise with all the amount of athletes that we've had. I mean, he was the captain, did great for the Celtics for many years, Hall of Famer. I just thought you might be a little bit surprised that I even put him in the top 10.
Well, after I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but after you see my rankings, you won't be too surprised. There.
Okay.
All right, so that's 10-9-8 for you, right?
That's 10-9-8.
All right. So I'll get started here. Keep in mind, I don't want to get fucking flamed for this. Okay, I can only pick guys in the last 25 years. All right, so let's keep that in mind here, listeners. I'm not saying some of these guys are like the best fucking Boston sports athletes we've ever seen. I'm saying in the last 24, 25 years that I've seen, these are my top 10. And this, dude, before we started this podcast this morning, I wrote out this 10, and I have switched 9 and 10 back about 4 separate times. And I don't know, so I'm just going to go with my gut here. Oh, man, this is going to sound so stupid. I got AL MVP, World Series champion with us, but sadly now Los Angeles Dodger. I got Mookie Betts at 10. As my 10th best Boston sports athlete of the last 25 years. And yes, I know he didn't stick with us very long. But I mean, he was amazing when he did play here. Homegrown talent there too, so you gotta love that a little bit. The MVP, I mean, he was just a freaking monster defensively, offensively. And I'm never gonna forget the ring that he brought to us and that team with him and Sale and everything. So I had him at 10.
Yeah, and he came up the system as a second baseman.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a cool story.
Yep.
Yeah, and if we're talking like best athletes, I like him up there. I gotta put him in the top 10. I couldn't put him in an honorable mention. It felt wrong. So then 9, this is who I switched bets for right at the end here. And you might count this as stupid because yes, he hasn't won us anything yet. But as when it comes to just efficiency, the athlete, the guy that he is, the expectations, I think he's going to go down as one of the greats ever for the Celtics. I'm taking Jason Tatum here at 9 already. I'm putting Jason at 9. And I might be a little biased there. I mean, obviously you can't see it because we're all audio. I got the Duke basketball freaking jersey right behind me. I'm a huge Duke fan. I've loved Tatum since he was coming out of college. And once we drafted him there and brought him into Boston, I mean, I absolutely love the freaking pick. I'm happy about it. So I got him there at 9. I feel like he has to be stated here too. In the last 25 years, we've got, 6 or 7 years out of him already. But he's shaping up to be one of the greatest Celtics players to have played. So,
his number will be retired.
Yeah. And then number 8 is where we get into a little bit of the older guys. I've got the actual second baseman there. Also AL MVP. Also led us to a ring there too. Dustin Pedroia. I love Petey. I don't feel like he gets enough love. He was absolutely insane. I mean, he was on the fucking cover of, what was it? I think it was like MLB The Show 09, right when he won that AL award, and he was insane there in the game. Defensively, he was a great. He was a great vocal leader too in that clubhouse, especially getting on into his older years. But even before he retired, he's out there and he's being a great voice and helping out the newer guys. So no, I love Petey. I think he's got to be in there too, and he's definitely ahead of Tatum and Betts there. So I got him 8.
Yeah, he goes down spring training. The guys ask him, some insight. So yeah, I'll give that to you. Again, I love this segment. I absolutely love this segment because we're sitting here. This is how we thought about starting this. I mean, I haven't had any one of those three even on my list.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, it's the generational difference. For anybody listening, that's kind of why we had started discussing starting a podcast a couple months back. We just couldn't find, I guess, necessarily the opening and like what we wanted to do with it. As we mentioned in episode 1, with the news of Belichick in a new era, like this was great. This was our opening, and this is why we started. But we love the generational difference and our difference on fans, like our takes as fans, with being, a father and his son. So we wanted to be able to kind of compare and contrast there, and see the difference that an old guy has on the view of Boston sports, and a new guy who has grown up just through 24 years of success has seen through Boston sports. So,
all right.
All right.
You want to go 7? You want to go 7-6-5?
What do you mean? Like me first here, or you go?
Yeah.
You go back to yours.
Okay, I'll go. Number 7, Jim Rice.
Okay.
Jim Rice. So he came, I think, to the Red Sox 77-78. Great. I mean, one of the really cool things about Red Sox lore and history playing that left field
74
was 74.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, again, I got here in 78, so I do remember him playing. But one of the great lores about just at the time when I started, how many left fielders they actually had, kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only a couple coaches in their history. And when I started watching baseball here, it was how many left fielders, and then once Rice left, who was going to be able to take over that left field role, and because it's such a beast. So I think offensively and what he did defensively, Jim Rice is there. My number 6, Patrice Bergeron.
Mm-hmm.
Great captain, great defensive centerman. Offense, defense, yeah, great player, and really cool when he came here when he was 18 years old. Did not speak a lick of English. Had to learn lick of English. He came from Quebec, so could not speak English. That was. I remember that. How the kid, didn't know English at all, so always spoke French. Number 5, David Ortiz.
Okay, now we're getting into the big shots here.
Yeah. I mean, how David did nothing in Minnesota, and just finding a perfect role. Great leader. Ended up with having so many clutch home runs, winning opportunity at bats. David Ortiz, number 5 for me.
Okay, I like that. It'll be interesting to see because I want to see how you're going to round out this like top 5 here now. All right, so what do we say? 7-6-5. I've got at 7 the Big Z, Zdeno Chara. I think he's often forgot about here almost. I love Chara for what he did with our ring run there, and he was just a monster of a defensive presence. And while he didn't finish off his career with us, it was still he was a great player. He was just a great, consistent guy back there on the defensive line. He's probably the most well-known Bruin I think of when I think of, what attached me to the Bruins early on, and it was Chara and then Bergie and stuff like that too. But I love Chara there at 7. Number 6 and number 5 kind of go together here. Part of that NBA championship team, part of the greatest trade that led us into Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to after on. We've got KG, Kevin Garnett at number 6, and then I've got Paul Pierce at number 5. So that's why I said I don't think it's a bit. I don't think it was like confusing or anything when you put him in there at 8. I give the slight edge to Paul just because obviously I think when it comes down to it, like, you know, if we're talking at your position, KG was probably more dominant at the 4, and like the 5 when he didn't need to play it than Paul was. But Paul Pierce, when I mentioned Chara being the first name I think of, like with the Bruins growing up, Paul Pierce is the first name I think of for the Celtics growing up, and he's my Celtics legend up until, I mean, Tatum's close to taking over that position for me. But Paul Pierce is still my like first Celtics legend I can think of. So I've got him at 5.
Okay.
For these next 4, I don't think we do them all in line. I think we go 4-4, 3-3, 2-2, 1-1. All right.
Okay.
Start off with your 4 here.
My 4th, and I went, which was, I think, pretty cool. My top 4 will go covering all the big 4 sports. Number 4 is going to be Carl Yastrzemski. Now, sure, a lot of his career was consistent before I got to New England, but he still had two great years or decent years. Another one in 82 before he left, but I think what he meant to the Red Sox at that time, leader, a lot of heartbreak and all, especially in 78, 79, but I think he just manned that left field wall. Great. I mean, but, you know, at a time, 5-tool player, when that wasn't even a mention, a cliche. Carl Yastrzemski, number 4 for me.
Spent his entire 23-year career in Boston, where he was an 18-time All-Star and 7-time Gold Glove Award winner. That's incredible. Yeah, good old Yaz. I've heard of Yaz. I don't know Yaz. Like you know Yaz. But no, that's a good answer. All right, number 4. And this may be, after you said it, now I'm looking back, I was like, this may be a little high, but this is my personal list. And you know, we're talking about dominant athletes and stuff like that. I've got Gronk at 4. I've got the greatest tight end in NFL history at 4 for me. I think he was just such a phenomenal force. He's a fun player, just dominant. You know, he helped to make Brady as great as he was too in the later years of his career. I'm happy to have seen his career. I know many injuries, and I think don't fucking do that, because if he wasn't as injured, he could be higher up on this damn list. I think this is fair, okay? If he wasn't hurt
did have
so
that
much.
number 9. Okay,
Yeah. You know, but from what I've seen, you know, he helped bring Patriots a couple rings there too. He was just dominant and he was just fun, and you know, we're not going to see another tight end. Yeah, we're not going to see another tight end like that. So I got Gronk 4. Give me your number 3. We're getting into the top 3, the big ones.
Raymond Bork, the captain.
Oh. Okay.
Again, I remember the kid coming to the Bruins. I'm going to shot. I tried it once with Jim Rice, failed. I'm going to say he came in at 77, 78.
Oh man, let's see. We've got 79.
79. Pretty close.
79. Not bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, he never won Stanley Cup with us. Had to go to Colorado, but I still think he set the precedence of what a Bruin defenseman should be. and all of them look to become.
He played for 21 fucking years.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. 79 to 2001. That's crazy. Yeah, I know good old Ray. I've heard of Ray. Great player. I forget how old you are sometimes. I thought Ray was maybe past your time, but I was off there. But I've loved seeing I've seen his jersey and stuff like that too. With when we
one
went
of yeah,
to
one of the coolest moments. So he started as number 7,
yeah.
and then Esposito when he retired, and
Game number
absolutely one
8,
of the
right?
coolest moments when he ended up taking off his jersey and changed it to 77. That
Yeah.
was an absolute cool moment to watch. In the
It's
black
cool
and
you got
white
to
back
see
then.
that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, in the black and white.
All right. So we got good old Ray at number 3 for you. Good answer. Good list so far. I like it. I like him there. That's good. Number 3, we'll keep it on hockey. This is where I got Bergeron. To me, seeing the captain here, definitely, it felt almost weird to put him so high up above Chara, but just I think a big part of that too was being able to see him last year and see his last year go off before he retires and be on such a historical team. Now granted it didn't end the way we wanted it to, but being a part of that regular season team and being the captain there, that's going to be a season that I'm not going to forget about. Not a lot of people are going to be able to. It's a historical season. Now granted we want to forget about the Panthers and all, but appreciate Bergie and happy he went out, at least with some sort of pride there, because he is a great player. He was a great captain, and so that's why I've got him in my top 3. All right, here's like the moment of truth.
Yeah, well, I was going to say I like the fact that you have him over Zdeno. I think a lot too. He stayed. I mean, his entire career was with Boston, while Zdeno had, played for other clubs. So I have no problem with you putting him at number 3.
So this is what I'm saying as I clock in here. This is the moment of truth because I think we both know who has got to be 1. And if you don't have him 1, I really need to see who you've got 2 and 1 here. So number 2, let me hear it.
Maybe just for the audience sake, I should make a quick switch, but no, I'll keep it. Number 2, Larry Bird.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, you knew that was there.
Yeah. I should have done for, just to get your goat, and I should have switched them, but
no, don't be weird there.
But yeah, Larry Bird, what he meant not just to the Celtics, but basketball at that time. The league was definitely hurting. I know that you probably can't imagine that, but Magic Johnson, Larry Bird rescued basketball back in the early 80s.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I expected him there, I think. Number 2, you mentioned him down there at number 5, but if it wasn't for the GOAT being in my lifetime, he may have slotted in at my number 1. It's Big Papi, David Ortiz. I love Big Papi.
Yes, you have.
Oh my God. From the moments of, you waking me up for the 04 championship to the one when I was really paying attention in 7 and then in 13, 13, I think at that point, early 2010s, I'd probably say the Red Sox were my favorite team. And now, as I've grown older, it's probably the Patriots just because I love football more and everything like that too. But, growing up with them being my favorite team he was everything. Big Papi was everything to us back then. Dude, I still vividly remember his jersey retirement they did a couple years back. I watched that live stream middle of like a college class. I was tearing up and everything. That's like one of my Boston heroes, you know?
Yeah.
Him and Brady, stuff like that. So that was an emotional moment. And when I saw that, I realized like, yeah, he really is a Boston legend to me, and he always will be. So I got Big Papi at 2 there. And then number 1, you want to say it at the same time? Because we know who it is.
Yeah.
3, 2,
Brady.
1. Tom Brady. Yeah. All right.
Tom
You
Brady.
didn't even. You got the fucking countdown coming, but
I didn't get the
we know it's
countdown.
Brady. Yeah. I mean, anywhere else but number 1 would have been pretty disrespectful to the GOAT there. But that's a good list. You know, we've got some. You know, you sprinkled in your old heads there. So that was good.
Yeah. I mean, bringing up. I mean, would you just mention waking you up just at that last?
The 9th, right? It was just the last 3 outs.
Last 3 outs, waking you up to have you watch that. That was a great moment.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, that was fun. I'm happy.
You remember the pitcher? You remember the pitcher?
Oh,
the Red Sox.
Is that who was pitching that night?
Yeah, who was the closer?
Was it the same guy from 07, Papelbon?
No, Keith Folk.
Fucking Folk?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, no. I mean, how old was I then? Fucking 5? A little over 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely remember more of the 07 team, I think. But, yeah, no, that's crazy. I still got it somewhere. I've got that Sports Illustrated thing. Rest in peace to them, by the way. Did you see that news? Sports Illustrated's dead. They they fired like everybody at the end of last week. Yeah, it's done. Wow. That's a conversation for another time.
Maybe that's why I haven't received it in the mail lately.
Yeah, the fucking magazine's been done.
Yeah, I don't think I haven't received it in the last couple of weeks, so.
You've just been paying for a subscription, and you're just like, where the fuck is this magazine? It's gone, man. Lights are turned off. They got nobody there.
Wow.
All right, well, that was fun. We'll be doing some more kind of segments like this, maybe like, you know, the generational different stuff. I don't know. We'll have to come up with something, some trivia, something like that too, between maybe some of these guys. But this was a fun segment and a good thing to fill the time there. I know you've got a hard out coming up. I do too. So we can wrap this one up, but before we say our goodbyes, you got anything else to say to wrap up episode 3 here?
No. Episode 3, again, this was great doing this little segment, showing the generational aspect of our podcast, and knowing some of the older. I know some of my friends have listened to it and already made comments about you being the young guy and me being the old guy. So we appreciate everyone listening.
This will definitely show it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, this was fun. We'll see how much we can build on this going forward. And I don't know. We'll keep these in mind. Got them written down. So we'll see what we can do with this stuff. But with that all being said, I think we're good to go here. Appreciate everybody listening in. If you've listened to any of the 3 episodes so far, if you've rated our show on any of the major platforms, we appreciate it. It all supports. And we will be able to catch you guys next Monday then for episode 4. Episode 4 will be coming out, 29th. We will have championship weekend to wrap up and discuss then, along with some other Boston topics or maybe some fun Boston games like this. If we dare to bring up the Red Sox yet, we will. But we'll figure that out eventually. Hope you guys have a great start to your week. Go kick ass this week. We'll catch you again on the 29th. Have a good one.